Hello, this is Deva, your financial literacy plug, and today we are taking a deep dive into the Keke Napep business, particularly here in Abuja. So if it is something you have been considering, you might want to remain all the way to the end of this video because I'll be giving you very important tips. So let's hit the ground running, shall we? In Nigeria, you'll find that there are three brands that are really popular and common: Bajaj, Piaggio, and TVS. Incidentally, they're all imported from India. Nothing spectacular about that, just an extra piece of information you might need to know. Some of the brands are slightly bigger than the others, but none can fit more than 3 passengers at a time, so the size does not really matter. In fact, those who sell the product will advise you against going for the bigger one if you are looking at the number of passengers that it will pick. You may as well just go for the smaller one, which also happens to be cheaper. So this video is going to be focusing more on the Bajaj product, which also tends to come in a smaller size. Now, it will cost you 1,170,000 naira to pick one. That is within the city center. I made my inquiries at Gwarimpa, where there seems to be a huge market for the tricycles. Outside Amak, I expect to be slightly cheaper. You might be able to get at maybe 100,000 naira cheaper than within Amak for obvious reasons. Now, the TVS, which is a slightly bigger version of the tricycle, will set you back 1.46 million naira. That is almost 1.5 million naira. Now, another thing you should keep in mind is the number plate. That will set you back by 23,000 naira. Then, of course, you need to get engine oil. A keg of it, brand new, will cost you 6,000 naira. If you want to equip the tricycle with a tracker, within Amak, the place where I made my inquiries, they're providing that service at 20,000 naira. And then, of course, you have to fuel it to get it off the premises anyway. So, cumulatively, you are looking at spending at least 1.2 million naira. And if you do decide to use a tracker or fit it with a tracker, you will be spending 1,220,000 naira. A piece of information that is interesting. You'll find that different brands tend to dominate different environments. In Abuja, particularly the Gwarimpa, Live Camp, and all of those axes, Bajaj is the most commonly found. I understand that in Benue State, Piaggio tends to dominate. One reason why that might be the case, you're looking at things like availability of spare parts, and then again there's herd mentality. Somebody's friend buys a certain brand, they see that the brand is doing reasonably well, and another person buys that same brand. So there's also that. In Abuja, Bajaj dominates the market. So we are looking at the Keke Napep business from the hire purchase angle of it. But if you're the kind of person who wants to buy and ride it yourself, you'll equally find this video interesting, because if it's the first time you're venturing into it, you're going to learn a lot. For those who want to do the hire purchase thing, this is a situation where you buy the tricycle and then give it to a driver who will give you something weekly in hopes of ultimately earning the vehicle or buying it off you in the long run. If you decide to manage the use of the vehicle yourself, that is, you want to manage the driver yourself, it is very stressful, it takes a lot of time, but it could help the longevity of the tricycle. And it could also help you to earn a little more, because if you ask somebody else to manage it, of course, you have to pay them. So if agents are in charge, you get to pay them 4,000 naira monthly, which is paltry, if you ask me. You should be able to part with 1,000 naira a week out of what is being returned to you. So now, please listen carefully. If you decide to go into this business through the hire purchase angle, you will be tying down the sum of at least 1.22 million naira to get back a profit of about 400,000 naira over a period of 18 months. I would say do not go into this business from the hire purchase angle. With the galloping inflation, and that is global right now, is it really worth your while to tie down so much money just to get 400,000 naira back in return after 1.5 years? I think not. It's really not worth it. And to make matters worse, the vehicles are not that rugged. Let me share my personal experience with you, because I went into this business on 2 separate occasions in 2 separate years. Each time I bought 2 of the tricycles and self-managed. I never used an agent. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, I feel I probably should have used an agent, although that also comes with its own downsides. Here are 4 very important lessons I learned when I self-managed my hire purchase business of this Keke Napep thing. The first and most important point is driver's recklessness. What I quickly came to realize was that a brand new Keke, and each time I bought them brand new, it's not the kind of vehicle that has second-hand value at all. A brand new Keke can look like it's about 4 or 5 years old within a matter of weeks, depending on how the driver is using it. And they tend to be very reckless. All kinds of bumps and scrapes and scratches appear on the vehicle within a matter of weeks, rendering it ugly and old looking. Point number 2, still under driver's recklessness. In many instances, the driver you contract to do the job will not handle that vehicle alone. Let me explain. What happens is, in order to maximize profit, whenever the driver needs to take a break, maybe just to rest or to eat or pray, they pass the tricycle over to somebody else to keep business going so that they don't miss a beat and to maximize profit. Remember, they're returning money to you on a weekly basis. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the amount they return weekly now is 20,000 naira. Believe me, it's peanuts. It's absolute rubbish. But maybe I'm speaking as somebody who is maybe reasonably comfortable. There might be people who feel scandalized that I'm calling 20,000 naira in 1 week a pittance. But the reason I say that is because of the amount of money that goes into buying the vehicle in the first place. Now, because they keep passing the tricycle from one person to the next, the wear and tear on the vehicle is worse. This is also another factor that affects the longevity and durability of the tricycle. Point number 3 under driver's recklessness: oil change. From personal experience, I know that oil change is something that needs to happen weekly. If you do not have the kind of driver that is diligent enough to make sure that that happens and that he's using the right type of engine oil and a good brand, that also takes down the longevity of the tricycle and tampers with its durability. Point number 4, still under driver's recklessness. In many instances, for those of us who drive cars, you see how people who ride tricycles, motorcycles, how they weave in and out of traffic. Now, what happens is, as a result of this recklessness, accidents are commonplace. Woe betide you if an accident occurs when there are passengers in the vehicle. You will be held responsible for their treatment. So these are the 4 things you need to be aware of where driver's recklessness is concerned, especially when you are managing the tricycle yourself. Durability. In my experience, these tricycles are not durable, they are not rugged. Because in the 2 instances, and remember, I told you I bought them in different years. Although it was the same brand I bought, I never digressed. I will not say which brand it is. The aim of this video is not to ruin anybody's business. But in my experience, the brand I bought was not particularly durable. And within 6 months, it was already on its last legs. So that whole thing of getting 20,000 naira weekly for 18 months is a mirage. It doesn't happen. Well, for me, it never happened. And I seriously doubt that there's any tricycle that is still in good form after 12 months. I seriously doubt it. In my case, within 6 months, these tricycles had to be sold. There was no instance in which I was able to sell that vehicle at half price. And this was something that was supposed to give me some return on investment after a certain period of months. It didn't happen. Point number 3 that you need to keep in mind: theft. And this is why I mentioned the issue of a tracking device. Of the 4 tricycles I bought, 1 got stolen within the first 4 weeks of business. The driver came, he apologized, he came along with the person that was his guarantor. They apologized, begged, promised to pay me back, and at the end of the day, some weeks they turn up with 10,000 naira, other weeks it would be 8,000 naira. This went on for like 6 or 7 weeks, and after that I never saw this fellow again, and that was it. So the tricycle disappeared, I never got my money back, and I definitely didn't make a profit or even break even. And I don't even see how the tracking device really helps. Let's imagine, for instance, now that the tricycle gets tracked to another state. Look at all the hassle that goes into getting involved with the police, investigating it, and you'll keep flushing more money down the toilet. Point number 4 that you need to bear in mind: management. Now, we have been talking about the hire purchase scheme of doing Keke Napep business. If you still insist on doing it, and of course this is entirely your choice, I can only advise. If you decide to do this thing, you're better off handing it over to an agent. Because you buy the bike, you hand it over to them, they give you weekly returns regardless of whatever is going on with the driver. If he falls sick or he needs to travel, they find somebody else and assign the keke to that person. If there's an accident, that's their business, they fix it. On paper, that's what it's meant to be. All you need to do is hand them over your account details and expect your weekly returns with no excuses. They bear the liability for everything, including theft, accidents, driver's recklessness, and all of that. Although I have come to learn that quite a number of these agents are also becoming disingenuous, they're dishonest, they find different ways to stiff the owner of the keke. If you want me to do a deep dive into that, please indicate, and I will make further inquiries to find out the different clever ways in which agents are able to cheat the owners of tricycles. Now, before ending this video, when I did this keke business, I think 2016, 2017, when I started, I bought 2 tricycles at under 1 million naira for both. This included getting the license plate number, painting it, getting the engine oil, fueling, and everything. Each one came to less than 450,000 naira each, and the weekly returns was 14,000 naira because I was managing it myself. And this was at a point when the routes they could ply were not really limited. The following year, when I bought the bikes again, having lost out the first time, I decided to try again and see if I could improve on what I had done wrong in the last, with the last group of people. This time around, I bought 2 again, but at a steeper price, because when I bought again the following year, each tricycle, same brand, same size, was now 600,000 naira each. So, along with the license plate, changing the color and everything, I spent slightly over 1.3 million naira for both. And this was when I lost one of the tricycles within a span of just 4 weeks, and I quickly gave up on the business and sold the second one as well. Talking about paint, in Abuja, the colors for commercial taxis is green and white, and that also used to apply to the tricycles, but I don't know if that policy has been rescinded, because it's very difficult to find green and white tricycles nowadays. You just find them plying their routes in their regular yellow color that they come in. And talking about routes, that's something else I need to expatiate on. Nowadays, the routes that they ply are extremely limited. They can only work within specific neighborhoods and areas. That means profits are less. That means there's a temptation for the drivers to want to push the vehicle 24/7 and work rotationally, all of which takes a bigger toll on the vehicle and impacts longevity and durability negatively. If you're planning to go into the Keke thing by yourself, by all means be my guest. You'll probably make way more than if you choose to go into the business from the hire purchase angle, which I strongly dissuade you from doing. Remember to like, share, comment, and if you have not already done so, kindly subscribe. Then join us again next week when I bring you another deep dive into another sector. Remember, we don't only do YouTube videos, we are a video production outfit, and our services are up for hire. We do a very good job. Just send a WhatsApp or a text message to the number on the screen, and we shall be in talks to give you exactly what you want. Thank you for watching.